today a video on possibly my favorite Broadway musical, Hamilton! Hello, I'm Julie from Nostalgia Studios. So we talk about your favorite things from your childhood, and you wish you had this during your childhood. I mean, it could probably help you pass U.S. history. And if you aren't in America and that isn't a required course, then the songs are still pretty good too. Anyway, Hamilton is amazing. It's the best thing in the whole world. Nobody disagrees. End of story. However, there are a few people out there who have trouble accepting this musical. Very, very weird people indeed. But today I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't hate on Hamilton. Now, I am not going to just retell Hamilton's life story, because I guarantee I could not do that as well as Lin-Manuel Miranda. So if you don't remember what Hamilton did, either go listen to Hamilton or look at a Wikipedia page, either one. I personally prefer Hamilton, but, to each their own. The main critiques on the musical are the historical accuracy. Boring. Just listen to this. You cannot fit a whole person's life or a time period of history in a 3-hour play with a 15-minute intermission. It's just impossible. There's no way to cram a whole person inside a play. Like, Hamilton lived for approximately 416,760 hours. Don't check my math. That's fitting 138,920 hours of Hamilton's life for each hour of the show. That's over a day and a half of Hamilton's life for every second in the show. Think of every conversation, action, movement that you do in a day and a half, and try to sum that up with a second. Okay, now that I've made that point, you can't fit a whole person's life into a play. Let's get on to the point. Anyone who's complaining that Hamilton the musical didn't have some little minuscule thing that Alexander Hamilton did in his 47.5 years of living should not be complaining. That's like complaining that the sky is blue, because unless you want to see a 416,760 hour show that would take 47.5 years to watch, it's completely impossible to fit an entire person in a play. Also, just a quick reminder, in case you forgot, the play is called Hamilton the Musical and not The American Revolution the Musical. Just wanted to recap, let you know. It all comes down to what story the writer wants to tell. I mean, you probably have plenty of stories of things that have just happened today. I mean, unless you just woke up, then in a few hours you will. Person does not just have one story, and the story that Lin-Manuel Miranda has gone on record saying that he wanted to tell was the story of an orphan who had nothing, using nothing but his raw intellect to write and get him off the island, get an education, and found, one of the greatest countries in the world. And if something isn't extremely important to this plot, there's no requirement, no checklist it has to be in the musical. And I'm sorry to say that this includes the 4th and 5th Schuyler sisters, the fact Hamilton had slaves, and also any irrelevant battles he fought in or any unimportant writings Hamilton wrote. Now, I do want to go in more detail about one of those. Yes, Hamilton had slaves. Oh my god, that's awful! Miranda lied to us all! Now, I am not going to sit here in front of you and belittle the awfulness of slavery. There's absolutely nothing good about it, and horrendous to treat human beings that way, regardless of race or skin color. However, those are the words of someone who lives in a pretty diverse area in the United States of America in 2019, and I'm assuming most of you aren't time travelers like me, and you guys don't know what life was like in the 1700s, but I'll fill you in. Back then, slavery wasn't looked at as that big of a deal. Unfortunately, that was the norm, and it's just unfair to Alexander Hamilton to put that fact in a play when the audience doesn't live through a time when it wasn't taboo to have slaves. It's like this. Imagine 200 years from now, people decide that dogs have equal rights to humans, and it's so not good to put them on leashes or make them do whatever you command. And then people want to make a play about you because you're so awesome, and yeah, you're just so awesome. In the show, they have a scene with you walking your favorite dog, your little furry friend, down the street, and then everyone in the 23rd century turns on you because they haven't lived through a time when it was completely normal to walk a dog down the street and, like, socially acceptable and all that. You see how it's kind of a not fair thing to put in the show and does not define Hamilton's character at all. But when people in 2019 go and watch Hamilton and see that he has slaves, that's what he's going to sum the character, the amazing person who helped our country in so many ways. That's how they'll sum him up by. I think a similar thing is dueling, because today that sounds insane. What, you're going to take guns and shoot each other because you had a little disagreement? I mean, come on. But they had to include that because it was just tiny bit important to Hamilton's life, you know, a little bit. Okay, moving past that, let me talk about other types of complaints. Angelica wasn't actually a feminist. Jefferson wasn't actually loud and obnoxious. What? Jefferson, Madison, and Burr were not the ones who found out about the Reynolds scandal. There were actually 25 dual commandments. Yes, good point indeed, but I don't know if you heard about. It's called artistic freedom, and it's kind of defined. It's like the extent of freedom that an artist gets to produce art to his or her own insight. This means an artist can alter the facts to make the art something show what they want it to show. As we established before, Lynn's insight was kind of a rags to riches story. Someone with nothing, using only their brains to become someone with a lot of power and kind of happened to found America in the process. Because of this, some characters might be slightly different than they were in actual history. Like, when Lin-Manuel Miranda was reading through Ron Chernow's biography of Hamilton, maybe he saw in his mind that Angelica is a feminist or that Jefferson was a boisterous jerkface. And these things are allowed to slide unless you want to see a documentary on stage. Like, some events will have to be, hyperbolized and some realities to be stretched to make it more entertaining. Part of the reason, one of the many reasons why Hamilton was so enjoyable is just the ability to immerse yourself in the story and the characters like you would with any completely fictional play, like Around the Corner or Across the Street from the Richard Rodgers Theater. And sometimes to do that, you kind of have to deter from straight up fact. So don't hate on Hamilton. Also, to any Hamilton haters watching this, I'd like to see you make better raps about Alexander Hamilton than Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's all I've got for you today, guys. Make sure to like, share, and hit the notification bell. You can subscribe by clicking here and watch another video on Broadway shows by clicking here. Also, comment down below. Have you seen Hamilton? Have you listened to the soundtrack? How amazing is it? See you guys next time. Bye!